Are you unhappy with who you are? Today we're talking about how we can find joy from within because we are joy on this episode of Coffee with Tea. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, Tonia and I'm excited because I'm going to be talking to Miss Mary Ann Peck, and she's going to remind us that we are joy. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Miss Mary Ann Peck. Welcome to the show, my dear.
Thank you, Tanya. I'm so glad you invited me to share a few words.
Right. For those, and I always say that all the time, for those who don't know, Miss Mary Ann and I have been in a networking group for a period of time, and I've always watched her move, and she's a fellow podcaster. So having her on the show has been like something I've always aimed for. So I want to say welcome for the show coming on. And I really want to open up for the listeners. Tell a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you came to this journey. And just fill us all in there, Miss
Sure,
Marianne. The
sure.
floor is yours.
I appreciate it. Well, what I do, I'm a spiritual guide. I'm a life coach, spiritual guide. And I remind people about who they are, what their goodness is, who they really are on the inside so that they can blend with the wholeness of who they are. Spirit, mind, body, the physical with the non-physical, that inner being. So when we do that, we start realizing deeper relationships, our health improves, we have better finances, and our spiritual walk is so much deeper and richer. And so there's just so many benefits to actually remembering who we really are.
Right.
And I came to that because as a young person, I was a very miserable, complaining. I called myself Queen of Complaining because I could complain about everything and anything. And I would tell anyone who listened what my complaints were, not realizing everything I complained about, my body was listening. And I got sicker and sicker, and my body deteriorated. And so once I had such a total physical breakdown. I was on so many drugs with autoimmune diseases and migraines. And I finally marched myself into a health food store. And so I started getting amazing results physically. I started getting some healing. But the true well-being and the peace didn't flood my soul until I started changing my mindset and realizing who I really was, and that I had created all that illness with my yucky attitudes and my victim attitude.
Right. I love your message because, like I said, I was on a journey as well, so I can relate to this because you have to start paying attention to your words and your thoughts. So what words of encouragement would you give somebody who's like starting this journey? This is a new year, new things. And so what would your words of encouragement be for those who are like saying, this is not right. How can I change?
Sometimes for me, I felt like it came in the proper order. I could not think about mindset because I felt so bad. So sometimes we have to start allowing our bodies to get some take some supplements, do the detox. I got amazing results. I still use the very same detox with my clients and myself yearly that I started with in 1993 when I started my wellness journey. So sometimes you have to start getting a little bit of relief in your body before you can start thinking, oh, I got to shift some of this mindset. Because your mind has been practicing so long what's going wrong that we have to start journaling, what's going right? What are the positive aspects? I have a free journal of positive aspects that has lessons and prompts, and I even do it and I wrote it. So I love the results of being able to think about actually what's going right. And as you do, you really start feeling better.
Right. I love that. And we're talking about how You took the supplements and you could feel that. So was that like the beginning? Did that set the whole journey into motion?
Yeah, you know what? I I had been raised very strict with lots of dogma, lots of rules. And so my mind was set. I couldn't break out of that yet. So to look to alternative medicine, because I had never done that, supplements and nutritionals, and I had the mindset that the doctors were the way and that was it. But I wasn't getting any relief. So it allowing myself to go into some more natural um, treatments for myself actually allowed me to start thinking, what other alternatives are out there that I may be missing? And then I started looking and asking God, asking my soul, asking for help, because you have to ask. You will not receive unless you ask. And as soon as I did, things started coming into my life, other alternative ideas. And then when I struck on bodies or energy, well, and our thoughts are giving off a vibration. Everything is vibration. Einstein told us everything's energy. Well, if it's energy, it's in motion, it's vibrating. So, as I started allowing myself to start noticing how I was feeling, because our emotions tell on our thoughts every single time. So
Right.
you can trust your emotions to say, this feels good, this thought feels bad. So if you notice how you're feeling throughout the day, suddenly you can start noticing where your thoughts are headed
Right.
and your body's listening at the same time.
I
So,
love how you brought it up because I think a lot of people are afraid to ask questions because then they start questioning their beliefs. So
yes.
how I mean, from what I'm starting, have you always had the mindset of like questioning, or was this just like something that as you took a step in your faith, it kept giving you the insight to keep going? I mean, how did that journey like roll out for you?
Yeah, I actually did have to start questioning what I believed. Why did I believe it? Well, I was just taught that from childhood. Did they resonate with my soul? Not always. Some of them did, and some of them didn't. So I had to actually start deciding what what beliefs really support me in my life? What brings me joy? Because so many of them were telling me, no, you can't do this, or no, this is wrong. And yet I would always think of things that I wanted to do or be or whatever. And I thought, but that feels good. And I know, as a child of God, as a spark of God, I should feel good. This should be pleasurable. This should be pleasing. This should be filling me with joy and bubbling up in my soul. And so many of those beliefs didn't do that for me. So I had to kind of set those aside and replace them with ones that did. So, yeah, it's definitely been a spiritual walk for me, a walk in faith and trusting. And, but now it's like, eek, I'm, I just feel so much more put together and supported instead of constantly fighting against something that's out there trying to get me.
Right, right. We're at the point where I always like to remind people, if you're picking up what Mary Ann is dropping, and she's dropping some gems already, some golden gems, and I've already picked up a few, give us a like, give us a thumbs up. Please put a comment down below and so we can follow up. And as we go deeper into her journey, we're going to start talking about her job. But I have one more question because I want to know, when you go into the inner work, and I know a lot of people are like I said, on that cusp of questioning where they are and where they believe. What would your words of encouragement for those who are on their spiritual journey? What would you say going forward? Would your advice be for those?
Um, you might want to like write down some of the things that you were taught to believe. And I'm a big studier. I just thrive on, if I could just be a researcher, I would love to do that, because even I homeschooled my sons all the way through school. So when they studied, I studied. So I'd have everything out on the dining room table. And still today, I'm always studying something. something uplifting, something new I can learn. So for me, I almost had to identify all those things that what I believed. And I had to examine them truly and see if they resonated with my soul. If this felt like real truth to me, because it does when it feels good. And so I started to, look at every those beliefs and go, where did I get them? Was I just told them? And so I kept telling myself that and become a belief. Anyway, I did have to examine, and you may have to write some of those things down and just go, does this feel good? Does this resonate with my soul? Does this feel like my truth? And decide. And maybe you just tweak it a little bit. Maybe it really is kind of supportive for you, but yet it needs a little bit of adjustment.
Right.
And you can feel good about it. Others of them, I just had to go, yeah, that's off my list.
Well, it always takes me to a deeper question. So before, like, so we're gonna go into her business. Trust me. I have one other question. It's like, how do you know you're on the right path?
Again, it goes back to, does it feel good? In your heart of hearts, in your soul. I call it resonating with my soul. It's a knowing. You just have this inner knowing whether this feels like it's supporting your soul. It's for your highest good. And I really think that makes a big difference. Um, that's how I had to approach it.
Right, right. And I know a little bit that talks about alignment and stuff like that, and that goes
Mhm.
into our whole other topic, which we can always maybe dive down deeper in. But for those who are like looking to like maybe start something new, and you have a spiritual practice, so can you
Mhm.
tell a little bit about how your transition into your work now becomes like a business for you? I mean, how does that work?
Mm. I At first, when I first started, and I've had several kind of little pivots or changes, little bits through the years of my practice. I started, of course, as a holistic coach, holistic life coach. I focused a lot on, helping your body and then moving into mindset, which I still do some, but it's I think my spiritual walk allowed me such peace and freedom that I hadn't known in the beliefs that I had before. And there's a lot of people who have been hurt by church, which I was. And I like to help people even with they might be recovering from a church hurt, or maybe they've left the church and they don't know where to go. They don't have community. They want to be in fellowship, but they don't know where to go. Or they do want to stay in church. They want to feel better about it. So I sometimes I help people with their spiritual walk with that, just healing those hurts, those traumas that can happen within a church body, because we're human. It happens, and understanding who they are so that they can just rest. And sometimes you do have to pick and choose what you believe and what you hear from the pulpit, and know what supports you in your spiritual walk. So I've kind of more evolved into more of the spiritual and mindset side of it. Yes, I help people with supplements still, if that's what they're coming to me for, but um, it tends to be more remembering who you are so that you connect. Because when you come into the wholeness of who you are, that makes such a difference. Because I believe we all came here to experience as much joy as possible. That is our goal. That is our purpose. And we're going to grow because we make preferences all the time. We see contrast. We don't like that. We do like that. So every time you make that preference, that's who your spirit is becoming. And if you don't keep up with it in the physical, you got these two divergent, opposing thoughts going on and attraction going on. So you're never on this gentle flow and ease of life until you get on the same vibrational wavelength
Right.
with your thoughts. And so I love getting to share that with people. I love just turning people on to who they are, reawakening that joy.
I can
Because
see it in your face. It's radiating that
oh,
I see you just loving talking about it. So, what's the one thing you really want the audience to take away if they don't hear anything else that you're saying today? What's the one thing you want them to understand?
know your goodness, learn to know it, sit with yourself. I teach a lot about meditation and quieting that mind because they say we have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. How can you hear your inner being? How can you hear your intuition? How can you know what's best for you if you don't be still? Our intuition, God speaks to us in a still small voice, never screaming at us, is always a gentleman. So you have to be quiet if you want to develop a relationship with who you really are on the inside, and know that you are joy, looking for a way to express.
Right. I love it. And we're down to like the last couple of minutes, and I want to get it in. For those who are interested in connecting with you, how can I find you, Miss Mary Ann?
It's easy. It's maryannpack.com. And all my services, I have a couple of free things on the front page. There's all my services are listed there. And you just look through my website. My podcast is there, my old shows of Coffee and Convo Live. And I'm so looking forward to having you on the podcast too.
I'm excited too. I'm excited. And I
Yeah.
know that somebody's got a birthday.
Yes.
So
Tomorrow
happy.
I'm 62. 62.
Well, happy birthday to
Thank
you.
you.
I want to
Thank
just let you know I see you
Oh, thank you.
and
I
I honor
appreciate
you.
it.
And for those who are looking for information to connect with Mary Ann and following up, because you talk a little bit about law of attraction too,
Oh,
correct?
yes, yes.
So we can
I'm a
dive, maybe
big,
come back for that and talk a little
oh,
bit about the law
yes,
of attraction, how
big
that works.
time. Yeah.
Would you? So you would be willing to come back?
Oh, absolutely. To get an
Great.
invitation like this, I'll jump at the chance.
Well, again, thank you so much, Marianne, for all the wisdom that you shared, and I want to really appreciate you. Happy birthday and love all your energy. It's just radiating. So continued success in this year. I wish you.
Thank you
And
very much.
I also want to follow up with those who checked in. Remember that feedback is always welcome. Remember that any email, emails, if you have any guest or show ideas, links will be posted to all of Marianne's websites and information she's suggested.
Mhm.
So please make sure you check out the description box below. Like I said, she's got some golden gems down there. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And remember, uh, feedback is always welcome. If you're enjoying all the insight that everybody's sharing, please consider hitting that subscribe button over there. And remember, take things in stride, go with the flow, and create your own path. And we'll see you back here on another episode of Coffee with Tea. All right, bye bye. Share with us what was one of your takeaways from today's show. Post your answers in the comments.